Yo, can you hear me? Oh, man, I might have not been talking this whole time. If that's the case, yeah, I think that was the case. I think I was not even talking this whole time, man. Oh my gosh. I'm glad you joined in because I would have did another video without even knowing that my mic was off. But just to start off, it's Saturday, May 10th, 3:06 p.m. Eastern Time. Welcome to another video with Digital Ghost Academy. I'm your host, Antoine Farrar, and appreciate my bro Chris for getting me squared away right there because I was basically about to do another video with no audio right there, and that would have been kind of crazy. So anybody that's tuning into this video, when you see it, this is a back testing video. That's what I wanted to do today. I know today is Saturday right now, and Mother's Day is tomorrow, and everybody's getting themselves like, probably prepared for that. But I do want to emphasize the importance of like taking advantage of like the market when it's frozen. So you have more opportunity to see a lot of well, I guess like opportunities within the market. I mean, if I'm not really going to stress it. So, to see to take advantage of like, the movements that the market is showing you based off the past and using that information to make it relevant for the future. You know what I'm saying? That's really what backtesting is to see like, okay, how many times did this market hit this price zone, or has this market been here before? Things like that, simple things, but it's still important because it'll help you out when the market is actually live if you predict this stuff. Obviously, when the market's live, the conditions will change and you'll have to adjust your analysis to how the market reacted. But if you have an overall viewpoint of what the market does, it tends to make it easier to trade. So, you have to take advantage of these opportunities like when the market is frozen, because I mean, this is probably a big portion of you understanding the flow of whatever currency pair you're trading. And I do want to emphasize that this information that you're going to learn here, you can use it on anything. Like you can go to indices and use the concept of back testing as long as you already know how to identify the basics of the market. Now, if you are watching this and you don't know the basics, then yeah, this might sound like Chinese arithmetic to you, but it's still back testing is one of the basic forms of trading. So it's like it's pretty standard. So it's not like I'm talking, Chinese math here. Um, it's just more so you might not understand if I use a terminology or maybe like why I drew a zone someplace. And again, everybody's going to see the market a little bit different, but we're just kind of giving a basis on like what you should be looking for when you're identifying this market. Now, the first thing is that I have this on the 2 week time frame, right? I have this on the 2 week time frame, and I have to acknowledge that what has this market been doing on the overall 2 week time frame. I really start on the weekly. So what I wanted to do was get rid of all that. So on the weekly, the market has been selling over it just by looking at it. You can see that, okay, the market has been on a downtrend. That's what it's been doing. And it's been breaking levels and returning to um, previous support structures and making it resistance in order to sell the market down, right? So we got to start where we have to identify the overall move, and then we have to scale in order to see, okay, is the market reversing? Is it pulling back? Things like that. So right now we're probably getting like a pullback, just by eyeing it. But obviously I want to go further and into the market as far as like this is the weekly time frame. So I want to scale into like the daily, and then I want to see information off of that. Then I want to scale in and see the 4 hour and then the 1 hour and so on and so on. And it sounds tedious, like it's going to take you all day. In the beginning, yeah, when you're a new trader, you will. But as you grow, this is like second nature. You're just doing it. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't take me long to draw charts, to form an analysis too, or kind of just to see what structure is showing me. It doesn't take me that long. You know what I'm saying? Like real quick. I'm not even thinking about it. So one thing we can identify here is that on a weekly time frame, this is resistance, right? Just by ignoring where the market is at currently, we can see that this is resistance. How do we know that? Look how many times the market came back up here. in order to validate that it's resistance or support, the market has to touch a price zone at least twice. So there's your 1, 2, where the market shot up. And I do want to highlight that, turn it to a line chart so you can see the structure. Even though the market pushed into there, a lot of people get confused by not seeing the structure. So you see the structure was definitely giving selling opportunities, or basically giving you the bear market. Now we haven't broken out of, we slightly broke out of this low over here. So this was a level of support. Oh, I didn't mean to get that. And for me, I highlight them blue. And then my resistance or ceiling, we highlight it red, all right? So right here, this is what is kind of called where you price trap the market. Now, all this is still support. And even though the market did break below this slightly, we haven't confirmed, and plus it needs to go a little bit higher in order to keep going down. So this area is support and could possibly bring the market high if we get another if price starts rejecting going any lower than this low right here, right? It can come, within this zone, so it can shoot up and then come within this zone, but we don't want to see it like break low below that. So one, we have resistance, we have support. Our overall move has been a downtrend though, right? So overall move has been a downtrend. Are we possibly pulling back to higher areas, or are we just pulling back to the previous low in order to keep selling? So we won't know until it gets there, but this is where scaling in, this is where you start scaling in, because now, because you've seen the trend, you want to start saying, okay, like, what are we doing now that I formed this trend? Or now that the market has formed this trend. So you can see that currently it's pushing up, but this is consolidation. So you can't really confidently say that it's like buying up from here. But just based off of this pattern, if I turn it to a candlestick, because I think I did look at it, this looks like a buying pattern to me. This almost looks like an inverted head and inverted head and shoulder potentially, and the market makes it in wildest forms. And what I mean is that if you draw, where is it at? Come over to the left-hand side. And if you look at these symbols, you can highlight, I mean, if you hover over it, it should highlight. Oh, on the corner, there's an arrow, and it'll highlight, go to the patterns, and then you'll be able to spot head and shoulder. Now, again, if you've been following my channel, which if you are viewing this channel, make sure you hit that like button, also comment, not to mention hit that subscribe button on your way in or out if you find value in this video. But if you've been watching, you know what I'm saying, my videos, community, like I've always talked about, I am not the best one to identify head and shoulder patterns, whether it's inverted or whether it's a regular head and shoulder pattern, but I can still potentially see it. And if the outcome plays out like that, then I have to respect it like that is the pattern. You see what I'm saying? Because we've already done that with indices, and we'll go into that once I pull that chart up. Not the most, really, it would probably be like that because you would count this whole area. Not the most elegant, you know what I'm saying, like depiction of it. But again, if the market plays out and starts buying up, we can treat it as such. On an eight-hour time frame, yeah, the market should start taking off from there. You know what I'm saying? Because again, I could show you on indices where the market did give out a small inverted head and shoulder, and it took off from there, and it hasn't come back there since. You know what I'm saying? So if this plays out to be a head and shoulder, inverted head and shoulder, we can possibly have a buy opportunity on our hands potentially after the market like opens up and does whatever it's going to do. Now that I'm on the 8-hour, because I've identified an area that may be a reversal, but I already know that it has to pull back. You know what I'm saying? So even if we're not truly buying up, we're at least going to a high enough level in order to bring the market back down. Now let me scale in and kind of see more data. This structure right here, when you look at it, in order to confirm that we're buying up, it would have to break this structure. So you get a candle that breaks that and then pulls back into this same area close enough, whether it's on the top or whether it's like deep back into it, that's probably your buy zone if this market is bullish from here, just based off of this pattern. Now, if it's not, the only thing that it's probably going to do is like come up slightly and then start selling off. But that's like subjective until the market opens up, you know what I mean? But this is where we can formulate at least an analysis. So say the market opens up and it doesn't do well, we can't predict what it'll do when it opens up, but say it drops lower, it gaps, and then it drops lower. Okay, well, one that pretty much read our analysis, understanding that, okay, this thing is still trying to push down, especially the way it opened, and we'll probably have more like push down like further on and not have these higher positions that the market tries to correct itself at, if that makes sense. So yeah, this is it for USD Swiss franc. Not too much going on, ain't really nothing exciting. We see that the market has created resistance, but just like it created resistance, it is at support currently. And we can have it somewhat like GBP USD did, where GBP USD shot all the way back up to its high. I'm thinking that's probably what we'll get from USD Swiss franc, yo. Just from like looking at it. Like, yeah, the trend has been down, and you can say that, man, this is a downtrend, but really this is just a range. And a range can play both directions how it wants, and it's going to make it look like it's doing the opposite. So over here, like I said, it broke this structure, but that's still support. Just because it doesn't look clean, that's still support unless proven otherwise. Now it does another break, then yeah, it's you know what I'm saying? But by then we would have probably identified it. Like I said, it's probably pushing up to like a previous low somewhere. So you just took a Fibonacci tool. – 50%. Look where 50% is at. Oh, excuse me. Look where 50% is at. That candle looks kind of crazy, right? So that candle looks kind of crazy. This is probably a gap. And 50% is around the area of where, if this market is still selling, I mean, it doesn't have to sell from there, but this at least would be a target. And then it could potentially sell at the 618 or the 786 if it is selling, you know what I'm saying? But this is support that we're at, you know what I'm saying? You can even see it on the weekly time frame that you have a bull candle, bear candle, bull candle opens up. So if this thing opens up, that market is, if it gaps up, it's telling us where the market wants to go. But just know that that market will like come down with a vengeance to get that gap that it left behind. So we potentially have a buy opportunity for USD Swiss franc coming up. So we'll see. We'll see what the market gives us. Like I said, it's choppy in this space, but we've identified the trend, and I like that. I like that it is consolidating right here. I'm not saying that this is going to be necessarily the buy, but like I said, if we're in preparation, we can adjust fire once the market starts being live and opening up. So let's look at indices real quick and we'll call it a day. I don't want to get rid of my markups, but I think I'm going to have to sacrifice one of them. Is there another US 30 that I can pull without gaps or breaks in it? Okay. I was going to do S&P, but I guess we can do US 30, right? Now, a lot of this information I already have like mentally in my head. But let's just look at what's been going on in the market right now. What time frame is this? 3 hour? Yeah, let's go higher than that. All right, one, we've been definitely accurately calling this market how it's supposed to be. So let's look at it from the weekly time frame where we've been at. So let's draw a zone back to, oh snap. Now, one thing that you want to do is look at like the flow of the market anyway. So looking at the weekly time frame, what direction has the market already been going? It's been basically going up. You know what I'm saying? Every time it broke out of structure, it came back to retest it, right? So it broke out of the structure, tried to test it over here, and now we're testing it again. So one, this was a previous level of resistance that the market broke out of. Now we're already past this, but this is information that's still relevant to you, so you don't get trapped in believing that, oh, okay, it's going this direction or it's going this direction. It will do aggressive pullbacks if it's going up. Same thing like with sells, except obviously you see like when it sells, it like sells. It's not just slowly doing it. It may give you a little bit of time to make a decision to either get in or get out. But sells are pretty much violent, as we see. You know what I'm saying? So the buys are the ones that like take a little bit longer to trickle up. But before you know it, the end of year comes by and this market is like all the way up here, and you're like, man, I could have been in all that. Like, yeah, it's just a slow process until we get a little bit more momentum. And it'll do like volatility spikes, so you'll see that, you know what I'm saying? That's why it's like with indices, just get your money and go. So it broke out of this structure. Um, it retested it. So we have to believe that this market is up, you know what I'm saying? Because if you just turn it to a line chart, like I said, it broke structure, it revisited this structure, and it actually touched it with like a wick, but that was a wick rejection on the weekly time frame, which is actually kind of good. You know what I'm saying? Meaning that because a wick was produced from it, the market shouldn't want to two wicks. The market shouldn't want to come back down there. Now it'll probably push to like areas like low up here, but it shouldn't want to come all the way back down here. You know what I'm saying? So now that we looked at the weekly time frame to identify the overall market direction, we hone in or scale in, whatever you want to say. So we can physically see that it's been trending up on a daily time frame. That's what we can see after that major sell. So we can see that, okay, market sold past here, and then it started trending up or whatnot. Like I said, the sell is aggressive. You see how like there's no pullbacks. I mean, maybe on smaller time frames, but on this daily time frame, it was just selling. It just did not give anybody any mercy. Which, you can adjust fire. Even if you didn't catch it from the top up here, you probably would have saw it like down here. You know what I'm saying? You just would have had to been cautious on like your entry and making sure that you pull out. There's nothing you can do to predict this. You know what I'm saying? The way this market is like forming up down here, there's nothing you can do to predict that. But we could have been in preparation to maybe take a trade off of that had we assumed that this previous high would have been respected all the way from what was that 2023. Yep. So now scale in again, 8 hour time frame. Now read the story. This is the thing that I try to get people to understand. It's like you want to read the story. The market tells you a story, right? It's like reading a book. I'm telling you, like the data gives you the information that you're looking for, but you also got to make sense of what the story is telling you. You know what I'm saying? So right here, even if we're confused, let's see what's been going on. And you want to start from where you are and then work your way back. So we can see that this market has been trending up, but what actually happened? Okay, well, since we're looking at structure, it created a double bottom, which you can consider this a double bottom. Then it broke out of that area, and it didn't decide to like retest it fully. It decided to retest the previous high, right? And after that, has this market come back down here? Let me see. I actually don't know. No, it hasn't. From this, the market hasn't come back down here, right? So what do we have to believe? We have to believe that this market is what? Trending up. And this is just the 8 hour time frame on a line chart, right? So this is where I'll start maybe boxing in. Yep, this is where I start boxing in. And as you can see, again, we're seeing one of the forms that we've always talked about, another form of consolidation. What is it normally? What is it doing? It's consolidating up. So once you see that it's consolidating up, more than likely it's going to keep continuing to go up with its pullback. So this move, the fact that it's on an 8 hour time frame, it should be a buy move after the market is retesting some of these areas or previous highs that it went to. So here's a previous high right here around 40,220. And then the other one would be 40,000, no, like 40,600. So you see, you have two previous highs where the market could necessarily pull back to, but that'll still be the opportunity for the buy. You know what I'm saying? Like all this is getting the setup for the opportunity for the buy. Well, let's scale in and make sure we are seeing that. But this information is from me looking at the market over and over. It comes with time. It's not like there's not any true guide that's guiding you through the market. You learn the information and you start seeing it play out, and your brain starts becoming like the guide because it's like, oh yeah, I recall this, or last time I was in the market and it did this. And yeah, sometimes it's right and sometimes it's wrong or whatnot. I wouldn't say 50-50, but it's just up to you being able to tell the story. So even from here, I can see that what this is our version of support, and the market is trending up in this direction. You know what I'm saying? Even if I was confused, like as a new trader, I don't know what's going on, but I can tell that this pattern, whatever this is going up. You know what I'm saying? So it's going up, it's buying up, exactly what we wanted to see after that major sell, right? So now let's annotate those areas because what we're looking at is where we're at and then where the market is coming from. So let's annotate those areas. So you got one possible area the market could pull back to within this zone. Now, it could violate this entire pattern, which I don't think that it's going to do that. But I'm just saying, like, always give out precautions because, again, one, because we're in dealing with like President Trump and he's saying this news that makes the market act sporadic, like, not saying that it's not possible, it's like kind of suicide. It's very possible. But at the same time, still read the market. So what was the other high that we identified? I think it was like over here. Was it? No, that wasn't it. This was it. So about the same area. So I can see that. Um, yeah, I can see that. Yeah, if you just look, where are we at? Oh, this is what happened. So this is where you do have to scale in and scale out, go back to the higher time frame, go back to the lower time frame. Currently, we're at a previous level of support that is now turning to resistance. And now it looks like it makes sense a little bit more because yes, you can see that the market is going up, right? And we believe that the market is going up and it should continue going up, but we know that pullbacks are coming. And I've already identified two areas where the market could actually push back down to. I'm thinking this area just because that's an imbalanced candle on a higher time frame. But we'll have to see. But we can physically see that it is building support. So this is what happened Friday, right? So you see the mark Thursday, the market shot up, and then Friday, the market came down, right? Friday morning. And then this is throughout the day, right? So throughout the day, the market is like going up, and Friday, trying to say, yeah. So the market was going up. Was it Friday? Thursday. Okay, so yeah, Thursday the market went up, and then Thursday, what was it, evening? Yeah, that's the same day. So Thursday morning, the market shot up, and then that same day, as the market started getting to close, it pulled back down, right? It pushed down back to these areas that it did look like that it was going to push back up. You know what I'm saying? But here's one thing that we were able to identify is that this was an imbalanced candle. Now we just had to see how it was going to play to this candle right here, right? So if you look at this candle, it's imbalanced, right? Now this information wasn't here until like later on in the day of Friday. So it was like, I don't know, like 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock around this time. Was this? Oh no, this was that morning. This was that morning. Yeah, this was that morning, Friday morning. I'm tripping. I'm still thinking about Thursday. So Friday morning, the market pushed up like it normally does. I wouldn't say normally does, but like around pre New York, and then New York, it basically sold off after retesting this imbalanced candle. Now that we see that information, what do we have to believe that the market is possibly doing? Because we did already identify that it is pushing up, but it may pull back to lower zones in order to correct itself to keep going up. Well, we've established that right here, this market did create resistance. Not only did it create resistance, um, it's trying to trend down. So it's probably trending to correct. You know what I'm saying? Like we saw it happen like Thursday. So right now we would have to believe that this market is pushing down to lower levels. Whether it's to this level, whether it's to a level of consolidation, we have to believe that after that spike and after the market pushed down and retested that imbalance candle. I'm emphasizing that because that gave us the confirmation that we should see selling opportunity. Now, of course, when the market opens up on Sunday, it can do whatever it wants. It can gap up, gap down, but we can see that the momentum's down unless something like that it happens and change the condition. But I'm not saying like it's selling off greatly, but this is the opportunity to catch a small time sell or jump in and jump out the market with selling opportunities in order to buy up. But the best way that I try to approach it is that I don't try to get too trigger happy with counter trading. So I don't try to aggressively go against like my overall direction or the direction that I believe that the market is like trending. You know what I'm saying? So like yeah, take a few sales, but don't just oh well, I'm gonna try to hold the sell. Like nah, it's called a short for a reason, and it's very short and it's very fast. So just take your money. But if I had to bet anything, I would believe that it's probably coming back to this area, just because there's a level of imbalance over there. I think it's on the daily. Oh, on the 8 hour. Now the 8 hour is a custom time frame. I mentioned that before. So that's why people may be confused a little bit. I have an 8 hour time frame. So if you look, this is imbalance. Now, when I put the Fibonacci tool to it, let's see what percentage this line crosses through. Oh, that's definitely not the Fibonacci tool. I cannot make this stuff up. I didn't do this beforehand. I'm doing this as we're speaking, well, as we're viewing this, but yeah, I didn't do this beforehand. So if you look, that line that we identified possibly being an area that the market could return to buy back up, it matches up with 50%. Now, 50% is not saying that that's where it's going to buy back up from. 50% is saying that if whenever we need a correction, we're looking for 38 to 50%. You see what I'm saying? So we at least know if it's coming back down here when it shows us its hand, that's probably the target. You know what I'm saying? That at least is the target on the selling side. So you just keep selling until it gets down there. You don't try to hold it, but you just keep getting your positions until it makes its way all the way down there. You know what I'm saying? So, but once it gets there, that'll open us the opportunity for the buys if we're still trending up. Now, this market violates all this, then obviously we got to reanalyze. But it could, what I would like to see is like it play to this candle because that's the last level of imbalance that we had, not to mention a previous high. But we'll see if it tries to, like, you know, punch people in the face and go a little bit lower because we know how, you know, aggressive indices can be. But what I'm looking right here is that because we finally reached back up to these high places that we sold off from initially, I'm thinking that the market is going to react to it selling off. You know what I'm saying? Like reaching these levels. And I don't think and like I said, I could be stretching it. Like I could be stretching it, but I do think that we hit a resistance level where the market is at least going to want to push down just a little bit more. To be honest, if the momentum is strong, then with that 8 hour candle, we'll probably have it come to like this shallow retracement right here. If the momentum is strong, let's kind of analyze that. Yeah, that momentum is strong, but this candle that just opened up looks pretty weak. Yeah, so hopefully it gaps down. That's what I'm thinking. If it gaps down, that'll give me more clarity, and then I'll know that, all right, like, and I'm talking about like a major gap down, and I'll know that, okay, we're trying to come down to collect some of these levels. But like I said, these are our two first options. And that's not saying that it'll go to the moon from there, but it could give us the first option for a buy option right here and then just go back up to this high. We saw that last week where it gave us a buy option, went up, and then it went lower. And it seems like it's been doing that. You know what I'm saying? So definitely make sure you're taking your profit with that. But just overall, from what I'm seeing, is that we hit a level of resistance. The market should want to react to it. So it should want to pull back to a lower level. And then buy up from there. And again, that's not saying that this market is about to sell out the sky, but the structure still respects where it's at. All this is resistance. You see, every time it got up here, it sold off, right? So even with this little volatility spike, I believe that we're selling off now in order to buy back up. I couldn't see that, you know, Thursday, but after this information came out, I said, man, once we retest this area, that'll confirm. And I thought that we were going to buy up, but as you can see, the market shot down. So that confirmed the sell off of just looking at this imbalance candle and looking how this market spiked up on Thursday, and now it's all actually below where it spiked up Thursday. See what I'm saying? So yeah, we have opportunity. But I mean, you see how straightforward that was? That didn't require me like going like I didn't even do this extensively. Now, yeah, I could say that I've kind of had a preconceived notion already because I already was looking at the charts and I remember how the market reacted you know, throughout Friday and I mean Thursday and Friday. But it's still back testing because using that information, like I said, that information in the past is going to be relevant to information in the future or in the present whenever you're, you know, when you're trading. You know what I'm saying? So because I remembered, okay, I remembered that this was a low that the market broke out of. Matter of fact, let's actually go to, since we've already done the back testing part, let's go to US 30 where I want to make it clearer. So US 30 shot up aggressively. We saw that, man. It was a 500 pip candle. Like, oh my gosh, it was beautiful. But anyway, I remember this area was a gap, not to mention understanding how to read the chart. So I think it was either the hour or the 30 minute. It's not showing me what I want to see. But when all this data wasn't here, it wasn't showing this to me. It was showing that this market, probably because of how that pushed up. No, it was showing that there was a wick rejection here, like on like the hour time frame. So you see how that is? That candle had like a wick rejection, you know what I'm saying? A wick rejection and on like the higher time frame. So that confirms that okay, we're not trying to go up there yet, and it's being followed by the creation of a downtrend. See what I'm saying? So once it hit this level, which I had already annotated, this was a previous level of what? Support that got broken. Well, it was a previous it was a yeah, oh no, it is support. It's support that got broken, yeah. Previous level of support that got broken, and you see that the market rejected it. Oh, okay, there it is. It wasn't like this, but something to that effect, because I don't really like that to validate that it's selling. But I do think that it's pushing down, like I said, to lower levels in order to buy up. But it was because there was a gap here. So we do know that the market rejects the gap when it comes back to it at first and then blows back through it after, you know what I'm saying, the trend corrects it. So there's a gap right here. I never highlighted it because I knew it was always there. This is the previous level of resistance. This is resistance. This isn't even current resistance, but it's respecting it after it hit this higher resistance up here. You see what I'm saying? So the confirmation is that we're probably selling off because like, well, I wish we had a stronger candle, but there's momentum here. Well, I mean, consolidation here, breakout of structure. And if the market is continuing, they're going to say something. Maybe Trump is going to say something that, oh, well, they lost earnings and stuff once the news comes out. But yeah, I think that we're still seeing exactly what we want to see. We just got to see how low that this market is trying to come down to. But this is what helps, you know what I'm saying? Doing this type of chart analysis, being on the charts while it's frozen, not distracted by like either having FOMO or just being distracted because the market is actually moving and you're like, is it selling? Is it buying? Especially like with a pair as aggressive as US 30. But like I said, this was a previous low and I expect the market to react to it. I'm not saying that it's about to sell off the cliff, but if it did, it would make sense. We do have levels that we haven't returned back down to. So if the market was gonna decide to come back to those levels, like definitely I'm in preparation, you know what I'm saying? And I think that'll solidify the support zone that we need to keep the market going up. But this is all the information that I've been like collecting. So, like I said, doing this over and over and over, like I keep my annotations now. I used to delete them, and I don't know why, but I keep my annotations now on pairs that I actively trade. I know what's going on. Maybe somebody else doesn't know what's going on, but I know what's going on. But again, it starts from back testing. A lot of this information, some of it's new, some of it has already been created. I mean, you can see what is new and has just been created. But like I said, this information is relevant. And because I did it prior to, it's paying me off now. You see what I'm saying? So that's all I got for everyone, man. Chris, you got anything? Anything you wanted me to go over while you on? Oh, okay, cool, cool. So yeah, let's make this bread, dude. You know what I'm saying? This is a powerful week. It's been powerful. Like the market's been giving us exactly what we wanted to see, community. So if you're tuning into this video, I hope you found value in it. And I will see everybody on the next video with Digital Goats at Digital Goats Academy. I'm Antoine Farrar, and I'll see you on the next one.